Hello everyone, welcome to another harmonic journey. And today I'm going to go over the basics of meditation. I think it's always good to revisit the basics and the foundations. Now I want to be clear here from the start that we are talking about a meditative process, not something called spiritual exercises, which is the prime practice of the movement of spiritual inner awareness. We can leave that for another time. This is meditation. And meditation, we really want to spend time actually being very, very present. Now, John Roger has said that the only way to do spiritual exercises, or SEs as they're called, the only wrong way to do SEs is not to do them. And in some ways that would apply to meditation. Just actually attempting to do it is actually very useful. But there are some very specific things that we need to keep in mind in a meditative practice, and I'm going to go over with them with you, and you can just take whatever works for you and just leave what doesn't work for you. The prime one is just to focus on our breath, and I'll take you through about 3 practices of that, and then finally we'll go into our body. We'll just be present in and with our bodies. So each time we'll have time for silence, and then you can choose which one works for you or doesn't work. In this time that we're living, it is really helpful to have a meditative practice, something where we can really move into our inner being and not be so caught up with what is out there. So again, as always, we just ask for the light to surround and fill each one of us and the space that we're in for the highest good. We ask for the mystical traveler consciousness to come forward from within each of our hearts and dissolve, release, transmute any negativity, karma, imbalance, dis-ease, fear, worry, anxiety, concern, taking it back into the nothingness from which it came for the highest good, along with anything else that we may release in this session. We ask for the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ to be with us, guiding us, assisting us, blessing us, and protecting us. And we also ask for the energy and the presence of John Roger to infuse everything we're doing here for our highest good. So let's just do the first practice here, which will be about maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes, I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. And that's just simply bringing our attention to the rising and the falling of our breath. So we'll just do that for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and that's all. Now the big thing to notice here, this is such a big thing, but it's an important point to notice, is that you're not forcing the breath. I'm not asking you to take a deep breath and take a breath or breathe. You're not doing anything. All you're doing is bringing your attention to what you've been doing pretty much every moment of your life, breathing in and breathing out. I mean, you have to. If you're not doing that, you're dead. So just bring our attention to that, no forcing, and that's one of the challenges here, just to get out of the way and just follow that breath. Second important point, every time your mind wanders, which it inevitably will, particularly if you're new to this, you just bring it back to the breath. Don't even give it a moment's concern. Just come back to the practice of watching that breathing. Okay? So just can gently close your eyelids, and let's bring our attention to the rising and the falling of our breath. Anytime your mind wanders, bring it back to your breath. I'm going to talk a little bit now. You can continue to do this if you wish. I don't want to take you away if you're deep into it already. Just a couple of important pointers though. Firstly, I should have said you can be doing this cross-legged on the floor or on a chair. It's a good idea to have your pelvis elevated slightly above your thighs so that there's kind of an angle downwards. In other words, you don't want your pelvis here and your thighs up. You want to have your slightly down. Not a huge angle, but slightly down. It's good to have, if you're sitting in a chair, your feet flat on the floor. And if you're cross-legged, that's fine, but just have your slight elevation on your pelvis again, so that you have that slope, even if you're seated on the floor, seated. The other thing is to have your head raised and your shoulders relaxed downwards, not to be slumped and the head hanging down, to have the head kind of elevated and back, just that little stretch on the back of your neck, no forcing, but just enough that it keeps you upright and that you just don't slump away. That's going to be healthier for you and allows more the body to relax so that you can bring your attention more to where it is needed. The mind will play tricks on you every way it can to get you distracted. First thing would be outside sounds. Be some noise outside and your mind will go and attach itself to that. So that's the first trick, is to learn not to be attached to the noise. Just let it pass through and keep your attention on the breath. Then if the mind is finished with that, then it'll start to create an itch on your face. Usually it's on the face. There'll be something that you'll want to touch or scratch. And again, the mind is searching for stimulation. So as soon as you scratch it, it's going to be happy that it's got your attention, and then it's got that sensation. So that's something as well to avoid. It may also cause pain in your body. Suddenly, this ache or that pain. Now, I'm not talking about real pain. Go and see a doctor, or don't be silly, get up and do something else. But I'm talking about the pain that's kind of as a distraction. It's, this hurts or that hurts. And of course, then again, your mind will be attached to it. Then there's thinking. Oh my God, thinking. Yes, all the thoughts, the shopping lists, the things we've got to do, the programs, the conversations, the regurgitation of conversations, all of that all needs to be just settled, and we come back to our breath. Then there's just the boredom. What am I doing here? This is boring. Nothing is happening. Again, the mind wants something. It wants to take you away. All of those things are to be watched out for, and for you just to be present with the breath. Now let's just add another little thing here. You can, in some practices, particularly in a Vipassana practice, which is a Buddhist meditation, you may have heard of Vipassana retreats. They're 10-day silent retreats. The breath is felt to come in through the nostrils. So you actually focus on feeling the breath come in through the nostrils and then kind of leave through the nostrils. That gives you another point of focus. That's all you do. And in a Vipassana retreat, you may be doing that for about 5 or 6 days. Just becoming aware of that going on. So we can do that, and let's just do that for 2 or 3 minutes more. the rising and the falling of the breath, or the breath coming in through the nostrils. Again, don't let me disturb you if you're really into this meditation. I just want to add another pointer here. And then when you practice this by yourself, you can add or subtract the suggestions I'm giving you. The next thing is to have the idea that you're not taking a breath. You're not taking anything. You're just receiving the breath. That's all you're doing, is receiving. And then letting go of no longer receiving. So perhaps that's helpful to add to the mix, perhaps not, but let's just continue. The rising and the falling of your breath, if you wish, or focusing on the breath coming in and out through your nostrils, the warmth, the heat, the cool, whatever you're experiencing. And then the idea that you're receiving the breath, not taking anything. Remember, always come back to the rising or the falling of the breath. That's home base. Just let's add one more nuance. And again, you can listen to what I'm saying, or you can continue with your practice. This one is to do absolutely nothing at all, except be still and wait. And the idea here is that as you do that, you may reach a moment where you realize that you're not breathing, you're being breathed. There's a beautiful passage in the Bible really early on when God made man. It says that he took the dust of the earth, or she took the dust of the earth, who knows? It took the dust of the earth and breathed into it. God took the dust of the earth and breathed into it. What a beautiful image. That we are being breathed by God. We're not even breathing. We're not doing anything. We're being breathed. So perhaps you'd like to add that to our mix. We're focusing on the rising and the falling of the breath. Then perhaps you can add or not that it comes in and out through your nostrils. You feel that happening, the breath. Subtle, but feel it. Then you realize that you're not taking a breath, you're receiving the breath and then letting go of it, no longer receiving it. And now we're just being still and waiting and having the experience that we're being breathed. And if you like, that God is breathing us. When we come to that place of being breathed, you may find your shoulders drop, worries, concerns, thoughts just fall away, because there's nothing to do. You're doing nothing. Not grasping, not grabbing, not forcing, not holding on. Instead, releasing, letting go, emptying, opening. Finally, we're going to allow ourselves to be present in our bodies. The final aspect of this today. It's going to be present in our bodies, that our mind isn't in our head, is distributed throughout our whole body. And all we're doing is just being present in our bodies, just sitting and being. Berush, Beishan.